Welcome to Literary AF Podcast.
Hello, you're listening to the Literary AF Podcast. My name is Danny.
I'm Arlene.
And we're going to be talking about books. Yep, two books.
A couple of them.
We got two books for you today. We are going to be talking to you about Team Phison
And Team Phison Forever.
By Chace Verity. Where should we start with these ones?
Well, this is a totally random purchase that I made on Twitter.
Yep.
It was one of these random, hey, my book is on sale for $2, and I have been instructed to download a Kindle app by Danny, who enjoys enabling me. And
I'm enabling you. I'm also making money-conscious decisions on your behalf, because if you had bought these in paperback like I did, you'd be spending a lot more money.
Yeah, fair. But unfortunately, I think both of us failed to realize that I have now been given the power to buy things that are $2 with one click or one touch of my finger.
Yeah.
So I have bought a lot of books.
Extremely dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So also because book Twitter is so very active.
Yes.
There are constant sales and people wrecking stuff, and this sounded to me like a book that I would enjoy. I am not typically a contemporary romance reader.
Mm-hmm.
I have been turned on to paranormal romance almost exclusively, and I'm finding it hard to deviate, but because of the concept of this one, I was extremely intrigued. And after reading it, hassled Danny, because I am very...
I already had this on my list to read.
Oh,
I
good.
did. I had put out a tweet asking for books with, like, chubby male main characters, because you don't get that as much as, like, chubby female main characters.
I have found a stunning donut of 0 for both of those, but again, I don't read contemporary.
I gave you one last week.
Was that the Courtney Milan book?
No, that was the Sarah McLean book that we bought at the bookstore this weekend.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I own that, and we'll see. But I am all about damn chubby girls.
I have a couple of them that I've told you about. You just haven't read them.
Were they contemporary?
A couple are historical.
Okay.
One's contemporary.
I'm just getting my feet wet with historicals right now, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Alright. So, Team Phison. We'll start with the first one. Team Phison. The sequel to Team Phison came out, like, 2 months ago, I think. So it's relatively new. This one came out in 2017 and was released in print 2019. I have my copy in print. I thought the covers for these were super cute. That's also something that drew me to them. I think they're really cute.
They are cute. I thought they were cuter after reading the book than I did before.
Yeah.
I don't know where I stand on cartoony covers yet, but they're very adorable. They're very cute.
So, Team Phison, I guess, is a age gap contemporary romance. In the first book, the main character's name is Phil Hutton. He's 55 years old, and he owns a restaurant. And he is a grumpy old man.
Yes. So grumpy.
I love him for it. But he's a grumpy man. It's very cute. He gets a video game. I forget what the name of the video game is.
I know the
Protect Earth at all costs.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I like the one in the second book better.
Werewolf Apocalypse or something? Yeah.
Apocalypse
Werewolf.
So good. I would play that game.
Yes, absolutely. So he gets a game called Protect Earth at all costs, and he starts playing the multiplayer game. I like that he's like a nerd. He's like a gaming nerd. Which you usually don't get in like older characters.
Yes.
They just like, oh, video games, bleh.
I don't understand technology.
Yeah. I like that Phil's a bit of a nerd. And then he is playing multiplayer, and he, I guess, meets this guy in game.
Wild noob.
Just a terrible noob.
Released out into the wild.
He didn't play the tutorial because it was too slow, and Phil, I guess, takes him under his wing. I'm trying to remember. Phison Falls.
Phison Falls
is his username, and Phil's is Glacial something. Hang on.
Glacial Silt.
Glacial Silt.
I remember because the first time I read it, I was like, Glacial Slit? What is happening?
Glacial Silt.
That took a reread.
And they strike up this friendship in game, and it, I guess, progresses out of the game, and they start texting each other.
Yeah.
And
video chatting and doing the regular long distance romance stuff.
It definitely starts as just like a friend thing, and then I guess Tyson is the one who pursues more aggressively, which is kind of a surprise to me. When there's an older character and a younger character, the older character is usually the more dominant personality.
I agree. And, well, I mean, I'm not necessarily... I think Phil is still the more dominant personality.
It's the dominant personality, but...
Tyson is definitely more confident in his sexuality, I think.
Yeah, sure.
So, it's very different that he is the pursuer in the relationship. Yeah.
Because Tyson comes off as, like, really soft and cute and gentle, and usually not, like, the active pursuer type of character.
Him a big cinnamon roll.
Yeah. So, I was kind of, like, really surprised that it was Tyson that was usually taking the first steps. Like, when they're Skyping with each other and stuff. And he takes the more dominant role in their relationship, which I thought was really awesome, actually.
Me too. I thought it was also very cute.
Yes.
Also because Phil is such a strong personality.
Yes.
And he is very... he's a grumpy old man, as we said. He's a very bitter and salty person.
Yeah.
And this little cinnamon roll just kind of takes him by the nose.
Yeah.
And it's good.
It's lovely. I loved it a whole lot. It was cute and fun.
I loved that this book was a long-distance relationship.
Yeah.
And that's originally what had got me to actually download it in the first place, is because, like, my relationship with my partner started as a long-distance relationship.
Right.
I mean, we were playing World of Warcraft and not... and not on the PS4. But it gave me a lot of feelings because it reminded me what it was like back then, where your relationship really grows because you're playing this game together and you're talking all the time. And it was really good times, and I think the book really helped that come across well. Like, I don't know if Chace Verity's ever been in a long distance relationship, but they did a very good job of conveying one.
Yeah.
I should say. Because going from talking online to texting to Skyping to doing whatever, it all feels like progression of intimacy of your relationship, even as friends. I'm sure anyone who has an online friend can attest. It was great.
Alright, so the climax of this book, I guess it happens just before Thanksgiving. Phil, spoilers, by the way, I guess, if you haven't already figured that out, we're gonna talk about spoilers.
I think that... I mean, like, spoiler alert is kind of... Like, I feel bad if we spoil the book for you guys, but at the same time...
The thing about romance novels is it's about the journey, not about the conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, nobody picks up being a romance book being like, oh, I hope they get together at the end.
The reason you're reading a romance book is because you know they're gonna get together.
Yes.
And for me, that's why I read them. It's a certainty.
It's nice to have at least that much be predictable, because it means that no matter how much trouble they get in,
Yes.
the ending will always be fine.
Yeah. It's going to end the way you want it, so you're willing to put up with other stuff.
The hard parts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the climax of this book is Thanksgiving, and Phil invites Tyson down to his place for Thanksgiving.
They live in different states.
They do. One lives in the north of the states, and the other one lives in the south.
Yep.
And Phil's like, okay, come down to see me, I'll buy you a ticket. And Tyson is like, no, I can't. And Phil takes that
so personally.
Extremely personally. He thinks that Tyson maybe was not ready for that step in their relationship, or something's wrong, and he gets very upset.
Yep.
And
it's very much a classic, hey guys, just talk to each other problem, but
it's a realistic reaction, I feel like. If you're not used to this kind of relationship,
I agree.
And an older character like Phil might not think about it right away.
Yeah.
Where if you're working as a server, you can't take time off work like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. For Thanksgiving.
And I mean, Phil owns a restaurant. You would think that he would make the connection in his head about, hey, if one of my servers asked to take one of the busiest weeks of the year off, would I be side-eyeing them? But, I mean, it's an emotional situation, so I understand why he didn't go there.
He reacted quickly.
Yes.
And I can't really fault him for that.
No. And I thought it was sweet, in a way, to just have this grouchy old sourpuss just be like, he doesn't like me.
Yeah.
And I love Phil so much.
Yeah.
His voice in this book was so strong, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's so funny. Like, I laughed out loud more than once with this guy. But, that was sad and cute.
And then they talk it out. Tyson points out that he's a server, and he cannot just leave for the holidays on 2 weeks' notice. And
Phil feels dumb.
Phil feels dumb. And Phil heads down to see him instead.
Yeah.
And
I think it was a surprise, too, if I remember correctly, where he wasn't expecting him to show up.
I think he knows.
Or is that in this one?
That's in that one.
Spoiler alert.
No, they make plans, and Phil goes down to see Tyson, and Tyson is at work that day. And Phil shows up at his restaurant and waits at the bar for him. That's like their surprise meeting. And
there's also a very rich cast of like queer characters, especially where Tyson is working. So I thought that was
where Tyson's working, and there's also all of Phil's friends.
Yeah, all of Phil's friends too.
Yeah.
But you see them more in the second book,
yes.
Phison Forever. So, but yeah. So I mean, at that point, the book is basically over.
The relationship has
gelled.
Yeah,
they're good now.
I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's very cute.
Yeah,
it's super cute.
Very feel good, very quick read.
Yeah,
and
very quick read. It's I would maybe consider it more of like a novella length.
Yeah.
Than a full length novel, but
I think both of them are about that long. Like Team Phison Forever is longer than Team Phison, but Team Phison Forever also deals with more complicated themes.
Yes.
Which.
Yeah, we can head right into that now.
Yeah, so with that in mind...
Segue.
Yes, the segue. Team Phison Forever is Team Phison... Tyson is getting ready to ask Phil to marry him. This is a couple of years later.
2 years, I think.
Yep. Into their relationship, and they live together now.
In Phil's place.
Yeah. Yep. Tyson moved away because Tyson does not... I mean, aside from some close friends, one in particular.
Manny.
Yeah, Manny. His roommate / bestest friend ever.
Yep.
He doesn't really have any family to speak of, so it was easier for him to kind of pack up and move.
Yep.
And in this book, it actually goes quite into that, where it talks about... Well, Tyson is having... He's had issues with his family.
It's, the narrator switches. Book 1 is narrated from Phil's point of view, whereas Book 2 is switched over to Tyson.
Yep. And Tyson now coming to terms with family and what it means.
Yes.
Pretty much. Because they get a new video game. Werewolf. Apocalypse Werewolf.
Apocalypse Werewolf.
Which, again, so good. And, So they're playing this game. Tyson is playing a little bit more than Phil is, because he's plotting this nerdy proposal in game
cute.
Where he does a thing where he builds an encampment for them, and anyways, he has this whole big plan.
It's very cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as he's playing the multiplayer for this game, surprise, surprise, he meets someone who they very quickly realize that they are likely related.
Yes.
And this is significant because, again, as I mentioned, Tyson does not have a good relationship with his family. His parents essentially disowned him. So he's had some problems with mental illness.
They disowned him because he didn't want to go to school to become a lawyer, and because he wanted to seek help for his mental illness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tyson took off, was done with that.
Yeah.
And to find this girl who, so he finds, Judith is her name, is his half-sister. And despite that, he really wants to have a relationship with her because she really wants to have a relationship with him. And he has mixed feelings about this. And I think in a way I understand. Like, this book, to me, really, it made me feel very sorry for Tyson, but also really frustrated because I guess the concept of found family, which is a heavy, heavy theme in this book, is one very near and dear to my heart. And I guess for half of the book, I just wanted to shake him and be like, you have so many people around you who love you so much.
Yeah.
And just really, like, drive that home. But a lot of the book is him realizing that family
doesn't have to be by blood.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm doing a poor job of this plot synopsis.
You're fine.
But, what happens is they do eventually meet. And...
Yes.
Yeah. And it goes...
Not great.
Well, the first part goes okay.
When they meet each other, it goes okay. But then, I think it's Christmas time.
Oh, before that, I think we should mention, too, that this half-sister has a great relationship with Tyson's father. That's their shared parent.
Yes.
They have different mothers. Tyson's relationship with his father is terrible. They have not spoken in, 10 years or something like that?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So to find out that she has a great relationship with him, that she thinks that their father is the best, sweetest, kindest man, has always taken care of her, for Tyson to find that out is really difficult.
Yeah.
And I think it's even difficult for Judith to realize.
She doesn't realize the extent of what happened. And when he goes to visit Judith, I think it's Christmas, right?
Yeah.
For Christmas, they're finishing dinner, and his father shows up. Judith had invited their father over to see Tyson. And it surprises both of them. She didn't tell either of them that this was happening.
Yeah. And
his father shows up, sees Tyson, and then immediately leaves. Like, he doesn't even want to stop and talk. And she was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
That was... I mean, that's close to the end of the book. And it was by far the hardest part. Actually, you know what? I actually don't even think that was the hardest part. To me, the hardest part of the book was that while all this stuff is happening with Judith, where Tyson is delaying his engagement to Phil because he doesn't think that
it will last. If they make themselves family, it won't last. Because family doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because the way he thinks of it.
Yeah. And to me, that's so... It was heartbreaking, but also frustrating, because I felt like it was like at some point somebody could have been, to say to Tyson, like, no, man, family is, like, we're your family and we love you. And at some points they do, but he
Manny
really just brushes it off.
Yeah, Manny did at one point.
Yeah.
And he calls himself Tyson's brother.
Yeah.
And Tyson says, no, you're not. And there was, like, a fight between them for a little bit, and then...
But, like, super misunderstanding fight.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That part was hard for me.
Yeah.
It does affect his relationship with Judith as well, but they do eventually make up.
Yeah.
Where Judith has to realize that, hey, just because my experience with my dad is this way does not mean that your experience with him has been that way.
Right.
And where she really just drives home to Tyson that she does want a relationship with him anyway. So that's important to Tyson for many reasons. Like, this poor boy is agonizing about this whole thing for so long. This book is less feel-good, happy, fuzzy fluff, I think, from the first one, which was very much that.
Yeah.
This one is dealing more about, like, deep-rooted feelings and the struggle of a guy who doesn't really feel like he belongs anywhere.
So he eventually realizes that he has family. And family is what he makes of it.
Yeah.
It's Phil and...
Phil's group of incredibly queer older friends.
Phil's friends and his friends where he works, and Manny and,
And Judith.
And Judith.
Yeah.
And, he ends up proposing to Phil.
Not the cool geeky way.
No.
But he still does. And
yes.
It's so good.
Yes. They get the same hotel room they shared when Phil came to visit him in the first book, and they have, like, a whole moment, and he just blurts it out when I think they're in the elevator ride up.
Yep.
Rather than the whole elaborate proposal that he had been planning beforehand.
Yes.
So,
and it was good.
It was cute.
I missed Phil in this book, though,
yes.
a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I loved Phil so much. And I liked at least that we got to see more about Tyson because, Team Phison was a lot about Phil and not a whole lot about Tyson, and this book was the opposite.
Yeah. The first book, Tyson came off as just a gentle, cuddly, happy boy.
Yes.
And, like, it mentions that he has some problems with family and stuff, but it never touches on it any more than just, like, an offhanded sentence.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting to see it all play out in the next book.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about Team Phison Forever was how quickly he forgave Judith for inviting his father over that evening.
I agree.
Without telling him.
Yeah.
That felt like a huge betrayal. When he had explained the situation already, and he said that they weren't getting along and that he didn't want to see him, she turns around and invites him over anyways and just surprises him with it.
I'll fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I if it were me, I would have been a lot more angry a lot longer than Tyson was.
I think so too. That was kind of a big one for me as well, where she didn't understand, and that was clear. And I think that's why he forgave her so quickly, because it was obvious that she didn't understand the extent to what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sorry, you just met your brother, and you're already trying to, like, fix your whole family.
Yeah.
Like, girl, back off a little.
He said that he didn't want to see him, and she was essentially saying, well, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
When you say that our father was a terrible person.
Yeah. So,
that was, like, the only thing that I was not a big fan of. But overall, I love this book. Yeah. I love both of these books together. They're both very cute.
Yes. I almost wish that they had been one book, but at the same time, I think because the time jump in between them, like, the two books makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. They weren't sure if they should or if they wanted to write this one. And then they popped it out this year.
Okay.
So,
it was a really good surprise book. It just came out when I had finished reading Team Phison, so I was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
I'll just get this one now.
We did read them about the same time that Team Phison Forever came out.
Yep.
So that worked out pretty well.
Yep. Sure did.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend these, to anyone who's wants to deal with the challenges of long-distance relationships and how fun that can be.
Yeah.
And I will definitely say the first one is more feel-good, fluffy. Second one, a little more serious, so do keep that in mind if you pick these up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's about it for today.
I think so. Short episode today.
Yeah, well, we're at about 25 minutes, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, you guys are good. You're free.
Next week, I believe Sheldon wants to read Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm going to end up reading that, but we'll see.
Heavy boy.
Sheldon might just read it, and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
We'll see. So it's not very long, so.
Yeah. I've never read any Kafka. I'm a sinful non-classics reader. Sheldon has scolded me about this.
Dorian Gray was enough of a challenge for me that I don't know if I want to or could.
They're not all like that, Danny, I promise you.
I don't know if I could. I've read classic lit.
Hey, you've read enough Jane Austen at this
I've read
point.
enough, like, Jane Austen. That's classic lit. Anyways. So that's probably what we're going to be doing next week.
Cool.
If you want to find us, you can find us on Facebook, Literary AF. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Podbean, Literary AF. And I'm on Twitter, LiteraryAFPod.
And Catface Gargoyle.
And you can send us Gmail at literaryafpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
And
That's
I'm
it.
on Instagram, LiteraryAFPod.
For pictures of books and food. Or just
No
books.
food, just books.
Just books.
Just books.
Or people eating books.
Try not to.
Okay.
Yeah, try not to.
Alright.
Alright. Bye.